I'm going to ask you one last time. Get off my yacht. Her voice, a razor's edge, sliced through the elegant music. The hostess, Eleanor Vance, stood her ground, her eyes locked on him, unyielding. He didn't move, a picture of calm defiance. The crowd hushed. Some snickered into their champagne flutes. Others averted their gazes, but every single person was watching. Security is coming, she snapped. Leo Davies looked up. When he finally spoke, his voice was quiet but sharp, 5 words that froze the room. Do you know who I am? There was no anger, no shouting, just a chilling truth. A deadly hush fell over the deck. For a heartbeat, everything stopped. Champagne glasses were suspended in midair. Every guest suddenly became acutely aware of their alliances. Leo didn't flinch, even as the security guard approached, eyes darting nervously between the hostess and the man she just tried to humiliate. Moments earlier, no one would have guessed this night would become legendary. Now, phones appeared in discreet hands, hungry for scandal. Every face showed a different kind of calculation. Risk, embarrassment, even shame. The only two who seemed untouched by fear were Eleanor and Leo, though for very different reasons. The guard hesitated, his voice low. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you. Leo raised a steady hand. No need. I'll explain myself. He turned his gaze not to the guard, but to the crowd. Does anyone here know who invited me tonight? His voice, though not loud, cut through the pretense like a scalpel. An older man in a navy suit, a board member, stiffened, recognition dawning in his eyes. Across the deck, a woman in a red dress whispered, "Oh my God, that's Leo Davies." Eleanor, unwilling to retreat, folded her arms. Anyone can say a name. That doesn't mean you belong here. We have rules for a reason. She clung to her slipping authority. Leo drew a deep breath, holding an invitation high for all to see, a heavy black card embossed with gold. The hush deepened. Even the skeptics recognized it. The founding investor's card, someone murmured in awe. Nobody gets one of those. Eleanor's smile faltered. The security guard stepped back, hands raised. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Wait, is this real? Why would they treat him like that? Who does she think she is? But Eleanor pressed on, her voice cracking but stubborn. The list is final. If you're not on it, you're not a guest. That's my job. She stabbed at her clipboard, flipping pages with trembling hands, refusing to acknowledge the truth. Her fingers fumbled for her phone. Fine. Let's settle this with the director right now. She dialed, putting the call on speaker. Every eye was on her. Her tone was brittle as she addressed the event manager. There's a man here claiming to be an investor, but I can't find him on the list. I'm removing him for security. A pause, then the director's voice, clear and cold. Eleanor, that's Leo Davies, the primary investor. Your only job tonight is to make sure he's comfortable. If he's being mistreated, it will be addressed by the board immediately. The color drained from Eleanor's face. She stammered, No one told me. There must be a mistake. But the manager continued, his voice rising so every guest could hear. There's no mistake. You were given the updated list. If you failed to check it, that's your responsibility. Apologize to Mr. Davies. Now. For the first time, Eleanor faltered. Her eyes were wild. Whispers grew louder, sharp and judgmental. Phones now recorded openly. Someone in a blue jacket snickered, well, she messed up. Another muttered, serves her right. Still clinging to control, Eleanor forced a smile. Mr. Davies, please accept my apologies for this mix-up. It's just security is so strict these days. But Leo's eyes were still. You didn't check the list. You didn't even look at my invitation. You just assumed. The board member who'd recognized him stepped forward. Mr. Davies, please forgive us. You are not just welcome here. You're vital to our success. The event manager, having left his office below deck, emerged with 2 other senior organizers, his face grim. Eleanor, hand me your badge. You're relieved of duty. Security, please escort her off the yacht now. A shocked silence fell. Eleanor sputtered, wait, you can't. This is a misunderstanding. But the event manager's voice brooked no argument. You had one job. Respect our guests, especially those who made this night possible. You embarrassed the entire organization. Leave now. Security didn't hesitate this time. The guard who'd once hovered at her side now stood behind her, his expression hard. This way, ma'am. His words were final. Eleanor's shoulders slumped. She looked for support, but there was none. Guests turned away, some glaring, some indifferent, a few openly gleeful. As Eleanor was marched past the bar, the whispers turned to laughter, then to applause. first hesitant, then swelling. Every clap hammered her humiliation deeper. Leo watched, neither smiling nor sneering. He stood tall, dignified, but made no move to gloat. His victory was complete, but not vengeful. The moment Eleanor was gone, the mood shifted. Relief, even joy, swept the deck. The band struck up a lively tune. Guests who'd ignored Leo earlier now approached, apologizing, introducing themselves, eager to be in his good graces. A woman in red, her eyes glistening, whispered, "Thank you. People like her never learn unless they're called out." Leo gave her a small, sincere nod. It's never too late to see someone for who they are. A group of younger entrepreneurs crowded around, asking for advice, sharing stories of their own struggles to be seen. Leo listened, offered encouragement, and gave each person his full attention. As the party found its rhythm again, the new hostess, a kind, respectful staff member, stepped up, radiant with gratitude. "Thank you, Mr. Davies, for showing everyone what real leadership is." Leo responded, "Respect isn't about money or titles. It's about how you treat the person in front of you." As the yacht sailed past the city lights, conversation turned to hope, dreams, and second chances. Leo excused himself and joined the crew for a quiet toast below deck. He thanked the staff, recalling the nights he'd once spent as one of them, unseen. They raised their glasses to him, pride and respect shining in their eyes. Meanwhile, on the dock, Eleanor staggered off the yacht. Her phone buzzed non-stop, angry calls from her boss, messages from colleagues, a dozen notifications of being removed from group chats, her email access cut off. She pressed her back against a cold lamppost, staring at the water, knowing her career would never recover. Her humiliation would become a cautionary tale in every event planning circle. Back on the yacht, the event manager took the microphone, his voice ringing with conviction. "Let's never forget, every person here matters. Tonight we learned that the hard way. Thank you, Mr. Davies, for your patience and dignity." Leo raised his glass, not to revenge but to resilience. The guests echoed him, applause swelling again. The city skyline gleamed, a silent witness to the night's transformation. Before the yacht docked, a reporter from a business journal, having witnessed the entire debacle, approached Leo. "Would you share your story? The world needs to hear this." Leo smiled softly. "Tell them this. You can't measure a person's worth by how they look, what they wear, or where they came from. The real test is how you treat people when you think no one important is watching." As guests disembarked, a young waiter, his eyes shining with respect, pressed a note into Leo's hand. "Thank you for standing up. I'll remember this night forever." Leo read it, his heart swelling with quiet pride. He looked back at the deck, now lit with honest smiles and laughter, and felt a weight lift from his shoulders. This wasn't just a victory for him, it was for everyone who'd ever been told, "You don't belong." Eleanor disappeared into the night, a footnote to her own mistakes. Her name now a warning. The world she tried to control had turned on her, and justice, true, public, inescapable, had been served. As the screen fades, the story lingers. Dignity, courage, and the knowledge that sometimes doing the right thing changes more than just one life. If this story meant something to you, subscribe now to Real Life Stories New. There are more truths worth sharing, and the next one might be yours. As the city lights shimmered on the harbor, Leo stood quietly at the railing, feeling the cool night air on his skin. The laughter and music had shifted, softer, warmer, filled with new respect. He glanced back at the party, catching the eyes of people who now saw him for who he truly was, not who they assumed. He didn't need applause or apologies. The true victory was in the way the room had changed, how walls had crumbled, how people reached for understanding instead of power. In that moment, Leo realized that strength isn't loud, it's steady. Sometimes the greatest impact comes from standing firm, letting truth speak for itself. He watched as guests mingled freely, conversations richer and more open than before. Even the staff moved with new confidence. Tonight, dignity had reshaped the story, and that change would echo long after the yacht returned to shore. As Leo turned to leave, the city skyline sparkled behind him. Proof that the world and the people in it could change for the better. If this story moved you, help it reach more hearts.